Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. We're back. We're still celebrating Black History Month, and this week we're in chapter 4, in week 4 of Iron Sharpens Iron. I've invited two current, and I say current history makers who are forging a path in this creative economy, and they're literally changing lives. They're changing lives through education, they're changing lives through leadership, they're changing lives through changing mindsets. They're truly changing lives. So I want to welcome you to Purposeful Productivity. I'm Florence. I help professionals, nonprofit leaders, ministry leaders to fix the friction in your productivity workflow so that you can achieve your purpose efficiently. So I want to tell you a little bit about the folks I got coming on today. One, my first guest is an engineering technologist. He's a creative entrepreneur, and boy, is he creative. He's driven by discovery and focused on purpose. He's a thought leader, a content creator, an advocate, not an influencer. He's dedicated, and this is truly, truly my testimony with him. He's dedicated to building trust, confidence, and community by working with individuals and organizations, providing technology insights, consulting, solving business problems, reaching objectives. I'm so excited to have him here. He is one of the original four horsemen, and I'm almost giddy with excitement. My second guest, and I'm going to rib him a little bit, is he is a Grammy Award winning producer, songwriter, photographer, storyteller, a pastor who stepped away from the pulpit, but he's still giving inspirational speeches out there. Although he stepped away from the pulpit, he's still leading by influencing people through technology with content creation, social media, and other media outlets. He's a videographer as well, and he does podcasting. So I'm going to go ahead and get them in here in about 8 seconds, and you get to hear at least from the first one and the second one as soon as he gets here. Welcome, 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 Mr. James Hicks. I'm going to switch this. So glad to have you here, sir.
Come on now. We here, huh? We
here.
live. We live. Shouts out to you, Florence. Thank you, my friend, for having me here.
You are most welcome, sir. Thank you for saying yes. We got some folks in the building with us, so let's see who's out there and see if I can do this without wrecking it. Of course, we've got my best friend in the world out there, Frank Jackson. Thank you for being here with us, doing your work as always with us. I appreciate you, my friend. And then we have the emotional CEO who was with us last week, along with someone else. Let's Go Live Tribe. Absolutely. And then the man who I will forever say, you pushed me out here. It's your fault. It's your fault. Hey, Mr. Walter Strong, so glad he was here with us last week as well, dropping gems. So thank you for being here. And oh my goodness, my morning motivation buddy. Hey, Inanea, so glad to have you in the building with us. And James, people be misbehaving already. Professor
Well, you know, I got the glasses on just so I can see. Don't let it fool you now. I'm not, you know. I play an expert on the internet. Y'all know me. I just play an expert on the internet. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Yeah.
So, James, you've been here, and you are one of the original four horsemen, but somebody out there may not know who you are, truly what you bring. So I want you, if you wouldn't mind, just your origin story, what you do, how you do it, you know, your perspective.
Okay, I appreciate that. And again, before I even start, I want to give you these flowers and say thank you again for the invitation to come and have this conversation. And kind of, we talked a little bit before we went live tonight. The evolution and the iteration of your craft is something that should be acknowledged as well, because you are out here doing this work. You're out here bringing high quality content, high quality messages, and really touching the lives of folks who are looking to do the thing, either it be content creation, entrepreneurship, business strategies, and things of that nature. And that needs to happen. And that's kind of where I will piggyback and say that I'm also focused on as well, rising above the noise, because there's a lot of noise out there in just the entertainment field. But let's actually have some concrete conversations to help people get to the next level that they're trying to do. Right. Again, if you want to be a entrepreneur, solopreneur, strategist, coach, whatever adjective you want to put in front of your name, we know some things and we know some folks. So again, not saying that I know everything, but I have a pretty decent Rolodex. I can put you in touch with Florence Donald. I could put you in touch with Walter Strong. We know folks who are out here trying to make sure that everyone succeeds. There's no crabs in the barrel. It's all about making sure that the community grows. And that's really my focus, just to be out here talking about the business of technology, making sure that folks understand this evolving world of technology and how it equates to leveling up and being more of a relevant resource to the communities that we're serving. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. You need to call that other dude. See where he
And I
at.
said, listen, I'm not going. I'm not going to put him too much out there on Front Street,
No,
but
no,
I didn't call the man.
I'm just joking. I'm just
Uh,
joking. Just teasing him a little bit. We gonna have
it's
some fun.
Friday. He
It's
ain't got no.
Friday. The man be making moves, so I wouldn't be
Yes,
surprised if he is, somewhere trying to wrap up a client. The way
that is
he be
true.
moving and shaking. So while we are here, I'm gonna just get started with some questions. And before I start asking my questions, this is what I'm gonna ask the audience to do. Let us know where you're coming in from, north, south, east, west, what continent, what country you're coming from. Let us know, because this is an inclusive community. We're not leaving anybody out. If you are serious about what you want to accomplish and achieving your goal, you've got a purpose, we want to lock arms with you. I think I can say that safely for both myself and Professor James Hicks sitting over
I,
here.
but okay, but I know. See, I'm coming in and I'm throwing you off guard already. But what you just said just now about tell me where you're coming from, nationally, internationally, global. The fact that you recognize the fact that you turn these lights on, you press record, you have the capability of reaching a global audience with the messages that you say. That should give you the onus, and that's that responsibility right there to come out here and actually, again, like I said before, raise that level of conversation to make sure anytime you open your mouth and it's recorded and it doesn't go anywhere because this data stays forever, that we actually bring value to the folks that are listening, watching, and absorbing this information. That's key right there, just to have that wherewithal that we are approaching and touching a global audience. Video today, and probably you'll take the audio from this session, turn it into an audio podcast or something. I'm not sure. I'm not going to tell you how to do your business, but but again, being able to reach multiple audiences with this content, I just wanted to put that in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, gang, get your questions in, put a Q colon in front of it, and we will definitely make sure that those questions get answered. And internet, we neighbors. You in DMV? We need to talk
She
because
around
I'm
the
in
corner.
DMV. I'm in the DMV. But put a Q colon in front of your questions. The guests tonight, I want them to answer your questions. I want you to hear from them. I'm the facilitator, setting the table. Come enjoy. Come enjoy. Get what you need from people who've been in the game out here doing this longer than me, but who have accepted me.
I like that. I like that. And the fact
Just
that we can
saying.
grow and learn from each other. I like that piece right there. Okay.
Thank you. So I'm going to
I'm,
start with a question that you actually asked because I want to hear your answer to this question.
oh, Lord, I asked a
Sir,
question. Oh,
you
my
you
goodness.
asked a question, so I want to actually ask you this, and I want you to give us your perspective. For you, what is the difference between being busy and being productive? How do you distinguish those two things? Because my saying is, whenever somebody, including me, whenever somebody didn't get something done that
Yeah.
they were supposed to get done, what come out their mouth? I've been busy.
Yeah. As I laughed because I remember when I asked that, and I've been asking that question to a lot of folks lately, really to get their impression and their perspective on that statement. Being busy versus being productive. It's 24 hours in a day. Got to sleep a couple.
1,440 minutes.
How many you got? How many minutes you got?
1,440.
Right. There is a time and a place for everything. If you come from a corporate IT perspective, you hear about something called work-life balance. If you are looking to time block, whatever the case may be, but being busy, I don't believe in, because that doesn't show in my mind, in my perspective. And again, I may be wrong, and I'd love to hear some commentary as well. One strategy that I have put in place in my life is effective time blocking and time management. I am a eat the frog kind of person. There are different type of methodologies for time management. One is the Pomodoro method, right? You work for 15, 20 minutes, boom, you go take a break and you come back and do it again. But for me, I do the eat the frog, where I try to tackle the top things first thing in the morning, the hardest things first thing in the morning. Before I go to sleep, I'll write down the three things that are those frogs. And when I wake up in the morning after the cup of coffee, I'll go out and hit those frogs. By having that plan, by knowing what I want to do before I do it, I'm able to effectively manage my time and my day throughout the rest of those 20 some hours. I also consciously put on my calendar, exhale. There is a 45-minute, if I pulled up my calendar right now, there's a 45-minute block on my calendar that starts at 1:00 that's called exhale. Unplug everything. Don't look at any screens. Sit here, meditate, sit here and just exhale. And by me doing that allows me to be more productive all those other times. So I'm already taking care of the hard things in the morning, taking care of myself, taking care of my family, doing the business that needs to get done, making sure that I have time to plan, strategize for tactical things and strategic things, regardless of what they may be, professional or personal. But the difference of being busy and being productive really, for me, boils down to how properly am I utilizing those 24 hours? How properly am I planning, prioritizing, time blocking, and batching items that I need to get done? So, long answer short, that's my definition of busy versus productive.
So you said you're frogs. Are you distinguishing whether they're Hicks New Media versus family versus some other commitment that you may have?
That's a good point. Good question.
Are they things that you've got a goal to do, or you and your family have goals for, or they're things that clients, deliverables for clients, whether however?
Yeah. So family is always going to be first. Family is always going to be front of mind. So making sure that my wife, making sure that my kids, making sure that my extended family core unit, and I keep that unit very short, very small. I got family, I got friends, got acquaintances. You got to be born into the family one, right? And then the friends I keep close. And that's just is how it is. That's how I maintain my sanity. So that block, that sphere is always going to be the most important, and make sure that if I got to take someone somewhere, if I got to be somewhere to support someone within the family, that's going to be high priority right there. You prioritize things A, B, and C. That's always going to be an A. And then I look at scope in terms of not necessarily financial value, but scope in terms of importance to whom I'm serving. So if it's to a community member, if it's to a client that is actually maybe paying for me, or if it's a deliverable that has other pieces that are related, those get lumped in as well as high priority things. So I'm talking around it, but I'm saying again, family is always going to be first, and then it depends on what that end deliverable is. So it could be personal, it could be professional, but if there's other resources, other pieces that are related to that are requirements as well. If there are other critical paths, I'm gonna use some old Microsoft project types of words there. If there are other critical paths within the cycle of a particular deliverable, that'll be moved up higher in terms of what I'm gonna do for the day as well. So and that changes, right, every single day. I can't say that today I'm only gonna this week I'm only gonna focus on all family stuff first, and then only Hicks New Media stuff later. It changes, it evolves, because again, due dates, deliverables, time frames, requirements,
Mm-hmm.
those types of things. So it's always evolving, and being flexible to that evolution is critical as well. The only way that I can be flexible is because that night before I've already thought about it. So I'm not waking up 6 o'clock in the morning stressed out of my mind because I don't know where to start. I don't know where to go. I've already thought about it the night before.
Yeah, that's key. That's key. I don't know if you remember, but I actually did a video on my end of day routine,
Mm,
and I break it apart in three ways. The first is shutting down part one of the day, the second is shutting down part two, and the third is shutting down my house and preparing the household to be ready for the next day.
come on.
And part of that has to do with also me being ready for the next day. And the example I use is when I don't do that, I will do something like this. And I've done this by telling myself.
Oh Lord, she's gonna put herself out there on Front
I'm
Street. I
putting
got nothing to
myself
do
out
with
there.
this.
Sitting in church, then walked around, greeted people, hugged people, did all the things. Looked down, I got on two different shoes.
Mm.
The same
Child.
style shoe, but different shoes. Because sometimes I'll buy the same style shoe. I just buy them in a bunch of colors, like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is because this morning I got up figuring things out instead of last night figuring it out. I'm like, you teach your kids, lay your clothes out at night. Well, I still
Yeah.
have to do that, because if I don't, that's the result.
It's all right. Come as you are, right? As the old Baptist preacher, you just say, come as you are. Okay,
But
we're not going to
right,
go that route.
the point in that story is that me preparing myself for the next day,
Mhm.
for some, laying out your clothes may not be one, but for me, it's essential.
Yeah.
Frank, stop, because you were there, and I know you know. You saw me, and you just started laughing. So,
But see, something that seemingly something that simple, seemingly something that minute is incredibly critical. And everyone has their own triggers. Everyone has their own modus of operation. So what works for Florence and me may not work right for Frank, and may not work right for Walter, whomever the case may be. You really have to be in tune and in touch and know yourself. And that is an interesting challenge, interesting conversation as well. When folks don't really take that time to evaluate who they are and what their why is.
mm-hmm.
If you don't know what it is if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, what are you doing?
You just doing
Right.
stuff. You just doing stuff.
That's being busy. But if you know what you're trying to do, if you know what you're doing, if you know your end goal, you know the end result, you know who you're looking to serve, that's when you're productive.
That's
But
the
if
word
again,
right there.
come on now, I'm gonna make a marker right there too. I'm gonna make sure I save that. Lord have mercy. Where the pastor at? He better come in here. I'm about to drop some more gems on him. No, but that really goes back to the initial question, right? Of being busy versus being productive. If you don't know what it is that you're doing and the rationale, the reason, who you're serving, and I keep talking about serving, right? I'm not saying this. Notice that I'm saying that consciously. We don't do what we do as digital content creators, as coaches, as subject matter experts, as again, whatever adjective you want to put in front of yourself. We don't do this for ourselves.
Right.
I'm doing this to help you get ahead. I'm doing this to learn from you. I don't want to be in the room and be the smartest person in the room. I want to learn from Florence. I want to get that a little different perspective. I want to make sure that you have what you need. If I've got, again, those resources, if I've got that Rolodex, if I've got those contacts to help you get to that next level that you're trying to get to, my job is done.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got some questions out here, so I'm gonna let
Uh
you
oh.
answer some of these
Uh oh.
people's questions.
Come on now.
They coming with them too. So the first one is Inanea. She says, let me try to adjust this if I can, because I got this real huge. I find myself pouring into other people's dreams. Been there, done that. What would you suggest as a way to have a healthy balance of being fair to mine? I find myself pouring into other people's dreams. What would you suggest as a way to have a healthy balance of being fair to mine? Professor, come on with it.
There is nothing wrong with pouring into other folks. That's a sign of a great Samaritan. That's a sign of a true. We can go to church, right? Of a true apostle, of a true disciple. There is nothing wrong with that. But again, you can't give all of yourself to
Mm-hmm.
others, because if you don't save anything for yourself, how much can you effectively and properly give to others? The folks that you're pouring into who really understand you, really love you. And again, I'm not calling anybody out, but I'm just saying the folks who really are in tune with you know when you are close to your breaking point. They can see the body
Ooh, that's a
language.
word.
They can see the mood. They can see the distraction. The fact that you're not looking at them in the eye. They can sense it. There's that sixth sense, or whichever sense you get, that something ain't right, and they should feed into that as well and say, "Internet, back up a little bit. What can we do for you?" So I'm turning some of the onus on the folks that you're reaching out to as well, and saying, having that wherewithal to talk. What happened? She cracking up over there. I get you. What's it? Listen, the doors of the church is open now.
The
I told
doors of the
y'all
church are open past the collection plate.
I'm on one today, y'all. Y'all gonna get these. Y'all gonna get these gems. But that's my thought right there, and that's my answer to that. Don't be intimidated or hesitant into giving into others, because that really is a worthy statement. That really is a worthy example of you being, again, that Samaritan, that apostle, that disciple, that thought forward person, that caring person, which we need more of in the world. The folks that you're giving
Absolutely.
into should see as well when it's time for them to switch places with you and come care for you. And as long as you realize the fact that I can give you X, but if you're not going to meet me somewhere, you don't have to meet me halfway. You're not going to meet me 30% of the way, 40% of the way. I am going to, again, consciously take time to make sure that I am taken care of. This next 2 weeks, this next 3 weeks, y'all call me all you want. You're going to go to voicemail. But I'm going to take time for myself. And you really, it's easier said than done, but just being able to consciously set this time aside for yourself. Be with yourself in silence, be with yourself. And if you like pralines and cream, ice cream, whatever it is that you do, that's me, pralines and cream. But be with yourself and find what continues to motivate you, what's continuing to drive you. It's not easy always to find that answer, which is really why that introspection, reflection, and meditation comes into play. So again, long answer short, I apologize for that, but I guess I'll come back and say, don't stop doing what it is that you're doing, because that's that good work.
Mm-hmm.
But then don't forget that you need to take that time for yourself. You need to consciously take that time for yourself.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. Internet, for a person who, me, who spent way too many years sowing into the dreams and goals of other people and not into my own,
Yeah.
doing the work and not being busy, being very productive, but sowing into the dreams and goals and desires of other people. When I finally woke up and said, there is some, and this is the gem drop. There is something that God told you to do a long time ago. When are you going to be obedient to what God told you to do? You doing everything else, and it's all good work, but you're not being obedient to the thing that God told you to do. Because when He gives you an assignment, it's unique to you. It's not to 5 other people.
Yes.
So when I got out of my way and said, the Lord told me to build this thing a long time ago, I had to let go. I had to take a step back. And I chose to do so. And every day it's a choice. Am I sowing into me and what this productivity journey is in the community that I'm cultivating and serving and the message? Or am I out chasing somebody else's stuff?
You
And
just said the whole thing right there.
some folks have been a little bit upset with me. I don't love them any less.
Yeah.
I love them just as much as I did before. I've had to teach people how to teach me, how to treat me, by teaching myself how to treat me.
Y'all, Florence just said what I said very more eloquently, though. Right, I'm coming off the streets. Right, she coming out of the university with her statement right there. But again, it's a commonsensical type of thought and type of a conversation. But again, it's hard. It's easier said than done. But when you break it down to a bare minimum, and regardless of your walk, your journey, your relationship with the Lord, because we talking about it at that perspective as well. Regardless of where you are in that perspective, you hear and you know. We'll call it karma. We'll call it the universe. We'll call it whatever it is. But you know when the mind and when the spirit, when you should be doing something different. When you keep waking up in the morning and you're doing the same old thing, and you just don't have that fulfillment. You get up, you get in the car, you drive to the coffee shop, you go get a donut, then you go to work, and you do the thing from 9 to 5. Then you go to take the kids to soccer. You know that there is something that is glaring you in the face, telling you make this pivot in the road as opposed to doing this all the time, or pause, go do some of this right here, and then come back. You know it. No one has to hit you over the head with the sledgehammer. You have, again, either that sense that the Lord is tapping you on your shoulder, or you just know within the universe that something is telling me, man, I really should make the time instead of take the time to get to where I want to be. So think about that, and from a perspective, and I'm glad we're hitting on really the same thing, saying the same thing, just in different wording here, so that folks really, at the end of the day, put themselves first, as opposed to holding their dreams, holding their goals, holding their plans for when it all gets better, when they've got everything dialed in perfectly. If you have a plan, if you have an option, if you have a desire, if you have a motivation, if you have a will to do something, and you feel that tug that other way of the road, jump out on faith. Take that leap of faith. You don't have to do it alone either. You've got all these other folks. You got the Florence Donalds of the world. You got the Walter Strongs of the world. You got folks who are 2 steps in front of you that can help you along that way. And again, personal and or professional, regardless of what you're looking to do. But you should have folks within your circle, that family, that friends, and that acquaintance that I was talking about as well, that you can reach out to and get some guidance. So.
Yeah. So the emotional CEO says, all good work isn't your work. Hello.
Come on now.
Hello. All good work isn't your work. So we got another question here from Mr. Strong. He says, what part of your technology career has played a major part in you becoming an entrepreneur and content creator?
I worked for Apple for 10 years. So I'm a member of the cult of Mac. I sat in the room with Mr. Steve Jobs. I had the pleasure of being in some close quarters and some close situations with him, and watching that man bob and weave and move really touched me in a way. In my studio here, I have his crazy one speech. I look at it every day, and you guys have probably, some of you probably heard me talk about put a dent in the universe. That right there is literally written in front of my face right here. And that has been the driving factor because he did it more with stories. He did it with emotion, not just always talking about bits and bytes and technology and zeros and ones and the low level pieces, the tactical pieces, but let's think outside of the box. Let's think of a different realm. Let's think of how this technology can help others be better. How can we get to a better world? And we need those types of folks in the world. We need those insane geniuses, as I've called them, the Elon Musk, the Steve Jobs, the Richard
Jeff
Bransons,
Bezos.
right? The Bezos. You don't have to agree with them all the time, but we need those folks to stir things up. And to answer Walter's question, it was having close proximity to one of those insane geniuses, Steve Jobs, that said, I have something additional to offer, as opposed to just coming to work and doing this thing that I'm doing good work as well. But I have the desire to tell stories, and I have the desire to help folks get to the next plateau that they're looking to get to.
You said a lot there. Um, Having a job is not fulfilling.
Yeah.
Having a job is not fulfilling. And so I won't speak for other parts of the world because I don't know. But far too many people I have encountered in this country, in the United States, a job is evil, it's not fulfilling, it's a necessary evil, and we don't take anything from it that fuels us. Having a career and a purpose within it is far different. You may be doing the same or similar task. This show is purposeful productivity. What's the purpose? You may be have a 9 to 5 or 5 to 9 or whatever, and it's not your own thing. But even if it's your own thing, if your name is on the building, it can still be an unfulfilling job.
Yes. Ooh. That's a
So
hard pill
you
to swallow right there.
it is. This
That's
all
Michael
this stuff
Jackson
that
with the
folks are
man in the mirror right there.
all these folks talking about I'm quitting YouTube, blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah. I haven't
Come
looked
on.
at a single solitary one of them. Let me just tell
Come
you,
on.
I haven't.
It's all
However,
no.
however, if all the money in the world does not mean that you're going to be fulfilled or happy, it doesn't. Newsflash. Doesn't mean it's not necessary. It's the currency of how we exchange things in society, whatever that currency happens to be.
Yeah.
But the impact is what is the purpose? What is the higher purpose? For years, for more than 30 years, when I've talked with folk about, they ask me, what do you do in healthcare? They would ask me, what do you do in healthcare? And so my purpose is to make sure that when someone I love, or someone you love shows up in a hospital, at a clinic, at a pharmacy, the people who are taking care of them are focused solely on getting them home healthier and safer than when they left.
Mm.
Everything else doesn't matter. That's my purpose. That was my purpose. My purpose in this is making sure that those who want to lock arms are able to achieve their purpose by being productive and not frustrated with bad workflow, bad systems, a lot of friction, and beating their head against the wall
Yeah.
and not moving forward. Very different
So
purpose.
I'm gonna interject. I'm gonna ask you some questions, right? Because you that's a great premise, great mission, great vision. You're not recreating that every single day, every single week, every single month. You've sat, again, back to kind of my analogies, right? You've sat with yourself and you said, this is what Florence Donald is going to do either this month, this quarter, this 6 months, or whatever. You probably whiteboarded or you have a vision board that you've done ahead of time and saying, these are the steps that I want to get to. You can't turn a plan into a goal until you write it down.
Right.
Right. On this wall, got my vision board, 2024 vision board of everything that I wanted to do 2023 up and through 2024.
Come on,
And
Super Bowl.
you know where I'm going. So I spoke. Listen, it's been y'all. It's been an interesting day today. Florence gonna have me crying up here because I'm emotional about it. Again, I spoke something into existence last year and said I would take one of the sessions that I do called Team No Sleep, which is the social impact of sport. We would take that from just being virtual to being in person at some event. I don't care what it was. We were initially thinking of going to a community college, going to a YMCA, going to a JC, somewhere. Lord put it on us to be able to go to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. So me and my co-host, Montel Allen, just came back from Las Vegas. We covered the Super Bowl. We got to hang out with some players. We got to hang out with some at the Bart Starr Award, so the Athletes in Action breakfast. We got to be in the midst for not just the game, but for the entire spectacle that is that weekend. So there's a big circle over there that's on speaking into action, actually doing that thing. And I would not have been able to do that effectively I would not have been able to do that without a whole bunch of stress and a whole bunch of, I don't know, mental anguish if I hadn't thought about it ahead of time, if I hadn't already seen it before it actually happened. So when we got the call to say you are invited to come cover the game, we were ready. We were ready because we already saw it. We already knew didn't know what event it was going to be. We knew it was going to happen, something, but already had the plan in place from a business perspective, from a content delivery perspective, from a infrastructure perspective, what we were going to bring, had all that already planned out. We landed in Vegas and we hit the road running. As soon as folks saw us doing what we were doing, we were called in to do some other things. So blessings started happening. Write it down, folks. Turn those plans into goals.
Hey, one of the four horsemen. Another one is dropping in here, saying hello. Hello, Steve Worthy, sir.
Dr. Worthy.
Dr. Worthy. Glad to have you in the building with us tonight.
Steve Worthy doing some things too.
Oh,
listen,
yes, he
catch
is.
up with Steve Worthy.
Yes,
that boy called me at 4:00 in the morning.
Now,
I don't
Steve,
know why.
Don't
It's
be
too
calling
early.
people at 4:00 in the morning.
He be
You
sending.
went too far. You need to come on back.
Good Lord, I mean, he don't realize I'm on the West Coast. He be texting me and okay. Lord, put me back on track. Lord, I'm over at squirrel moments.
But you know, you've given so much, but that you weren't just there, right? You had the platform. The doors were open for you to spread the message of Team No Sleep.
Yes.
What the goal and the purpose is. On, without a doubt, the biggest show of the year. Any way you look at it. I don't even like football. I don't even watch football. And I know that. I don't know the first thing about football. It's a little oblong thing. Whatever.
You out there screaming, home run. Wait a minute, Florian, you watching the wrong game, Jack.
But what struck me was I remember you speaking about doing that and putting it out and being intentional and continuing to do. This is where I'm going, everybody. Continuing to do the mundane work that does not appear that it's
Yeah.
making a difference. It's the mundane work that I call it, you're working out and no one sees you working out. By the time you're an instant success, you've been doing the hard work for a long time. And you've had to try to figure out how to get that machine going. So, number one, congratulations. Number two, baby sis over here, super proud of you.
Thank you.
Super proud of you.
Appreciate you, sis. Appreciate you. But I mean, and again, I'm not gloating, but being humble, right? And being humble and still being hungry, right? Because again, as you say, it's that working out in silence, and it's working out alone, and honing the craft, honing the messaging, staying out there and doing the work. Do what we do, folks, when no one's watching, when no one's listening. You don't have to post everything. Just do your thing, right? Make your, we're talking digital content creators, make your scenes and your overlays and your show, your run of show, your conversation, your interview. Do all of that administrative. Make that, tweak that. Each time you do it one time. Go back and rewatch your show. Find the ums and the ahs and the whatever that was in your vernacular. Take that out. Get better each and every time. You don't have to tell everybody all the time. You don't have to tell me every time you buy a new light. I don't care that you bought a new camera. I don't care that you got a new audio interface. I don't care that you got the new stream deck. I don't really care. As long as you learn how to use that piece of technology, as long as you use that piece of infrastructure and you make your production that much better, because I'm already going to assume that your content is on par, is quality. So you're already servicing your community the way that your community should be serviced. Now, if you now level up 1% better each and every time, that production value, if you level up your administrative pieces, if you level up your outreach to potential prospects and clients and things of that nature, that's where it's at. And again, you don't have to do an update on Facebook and Instagram and what the kids using now to Snapchats and things of that. Just work in silence. Get better. Be happy with yourself that you're leveling up. Don't look to someone else for that assurance and for that recognition. Be happy with what you're doing yourself, and then you'll continue to see those rewards. Well, you'll recognize those rewards because you probably get them already. But if you value them within yourself, I think you'll be more appreciative of the little wins instead of always looking for the big wins. Be happy with that one client that came in and paid you $100 for a coaching session instead of waiting for that $5,000 one, right? Be happy with the wins that come in, and be happy also with the losses, the struggles, the challenges, the no's. You're gonna get more no's. You better get more no's, because then you're not gonna get better. So there you go. Let me get off this soapbox. Lord have mercy, I'm getting hot up in here. Good, take me off camera. Woo.
So, Mr. Worthy over here talking about I'm hitting him in the head.
Hit him in the head. Lord have Peach over here sweating.
Florence, you are hitting me all in the head. Doing the mundane helps you maintain the vision. The vision is for an appointed time. Wow. That's strong.
Okay.
Then he comes
Worthy.
back and says, Biggie said, bad boys move in silence. All right, Biggie Small.
I'll think of some Tupac lyrics to
bad boys
counteract
move
that.
in silence. So I'm going to move on to something I'm going to talk about. And this is straight up your road, and that is tools and tech. At some point, I'm going to get to it. And I expand from solely content creation, whether it's video, podcasting, blogging, but just tools in tools, techs, and methods, techniques that you're using to streamline your workflow. It's that, when you find those friction points, getting them out of the way so that it becomes smoother the next time you tackle a project or a task. What are some of your techniques there?
Learn by example, kind of, and again, similar to what we talked about before we went live, right? Just the case in point of how you learn to iterate show versus show, moving from one season to the next and one session to the other. So iterating and knowing that not being afraid of the technology. Let me boil it down to that. Not being afraid to go out and try something new. We got this platform. A lot of us are on Mac, and we use an encoder called Ecamm Live, and that's what allows us to do this phenomenal looking environment that we serve up to the community. There's a lot of capability that's in this. There are some user manuals. There are some support pages. There's a phenomenal community around it. But if you don't get in there yourself and learn how to create scenes and create overlays and create transitions and how to do, again, the thing, you're not going to get better. So that's one thing that I really pride myself on, reading the manual and learning the technology that I have. I know about the exposure triangle on my camera, so I know how to set white balance. I know how to set the F, right? So I know all of those things in terms of how to position the production. Everything in this room, Keith would know that, and we've talked about this before. Everything that's in this room right now is in a place for a particular purpose and for a particular reason. There is nothing that's out of place in this room because I'm very methodical about what you see on one side of my head. You see the two cars. On this side, you see my camp. Right again. So again, being meticulous about that, and I've been able to do that by going back and watching previous sessions and wanting to make sure that what the community and what the audience consumes is pleasing along with the message. So doing those types of things. And then really finding tools, platforms, software, hardware, platforms that eliminate cycles within my workflow. If I can save myself 10 minutes from...
Love my Stream Deck.
right. If I can save myself... So the Stream Decks, right? Again, so I got the pedals, I've got the ones on the desk as well. So if I can save myself the keystrokes, if I can focus and lock in on the audience instead of having to look down and using the mouse, if I can program automated activities, if I can take advantage of automation, that helps as well. That makes it so I don't lose focus. I don't lose the attention of the folks that I'm talking to. So I can build in some automation. And again, I was talking about workflow. If I can find tools, platforms, process, and things of that nature that will take 10, 15 minutes out of my workflow, especially on the post-production side. So I'm recording everything that we're saying right now as well. And literally 20 minutes after we get done, I'm going to have this chopped up too into micro content segments that I can push out as well. So I've got a process in place for post-production, video into audio, out to various social networks. So workflow enhancements, iterating, and understanding that I can continue to get better. Don't be content with what I'm doing today. Find out where to get that 1%, that 10% better for next time. And not being content with it. Not being content with where I'm at today. Finding that little tweak, that little nuance that maybe I should raise that TV just a little bit, or maybe I should move this prompter just somewhere to the side so, you can see this JH that's on my microphone right here. Again, everything is with intent and purpose.
Okay.
You awesome. See it. You see the little mic flag down there.
Yeah, I do. I see you.
Flexing like that on your people. And you see, I put up the coffee cup too. You see the branding.
I see you. I'm coming. Steve says, "Amen, James. The lessons are in the L's." Yes, we do learn.
That's a new T-shirt.
Learn from failure. I want to kind of dip in here and say, I evaluate everything that I do every day, and I have done that my entire life. So I recap my day, just a few bullet points. What went well? What did I not handle well? Uh, what did I not understand that I need to dig into to understand? I may not understand it tomorrow, but I've got it captured. And how do I take and move? I'll give you an example. I love, yeah, I'm misbehaving. I love my Stream Deck.
Mm.
As late as 2 weeks ago, I realized I am a word person. I am not an icon person.
Okay.
So I had made all these buttons with icons, and I would forget what the little picture meant. I'm taking all them little pictures off that look so cute and putting words because I'm going to look at the word. I don't even have to read all of it. I just know. But that's because that's the way my brain works.
Mm.
Colors associated with certain types of work.
Yeah.
And then for me, I need to see the words. One word on the button, fine. A couple of letters on the button, fine. A picture, it's a whole problem.
we gonna have problems when we just got pictures.
I don't remember what that little picture is supposed to be. And I would find myself struggling with it because I just was like, and I finally was like, Florence, why are you making this so hard? Finding a point of friction in my workflow, had the right tool, but I had not refined the workflow to get that point of friction out of it. And it
I
was
love that.
in my
Wow.
reflection that I said, you're struggling for no reason here. This is something you can fix quickly. So if you're not doing that reflection, I would encourage you. If it's not every day for you, maybe it's once a week. Do the reflection, but not just think about it and stew on it and shake your head. Write it down so that you acknowledge what you're doing well, celebrate your wins, and those L's, what do I learn from them and how do I iterate to improve so that my workflow is smoother?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it may not be minutes,
good.
it may be microseconds that you're saving, but they add up.
I'm loving the fact, okay, that everything that we're saying is full circle, right? Again, we're just saying it from left field, from right field, and then coming down the center. But it all, folks, as you notice, it wasn't planned, right?
It wasn't.
Florence
It was
just told
not.
me to come on here and act a fool, and
I
that's
didn't
what
tell him anything except show up.
they know. Told me to come up here and act a fool, and that's what I do on a regular basis. But I love that the message again is to be introspective and to find out what it is that you really want to do. Don't spend your life trying to do what Steve Worthy wants to do. If you're not Steve Worthy, right? Support
He's
that
already
person.
taken. Steve
Oh,
Worthy
Lord.
is already taken in more ways
So-
than one.
That's okay. That's true.
Leave that alone.
But right, be supportive of those individuals and be supportive of those folks. Like someone was saying, Inanea. I apologize if I'm not saying your name
Inanea.
correctly.
Yeah,
But again,
beautiful.
feed into and bring support into those folks around you. But man, you really need to be conscious of the time that is necessary to be attentive to yourself. That's where really a lot of this foundational growth, a lot of this foundational learning, this foundational progression comes from. If you can't wake up tomorrow morning, should you wake up tomorrow morning and say, this is what I'm here to do? It doesn't have to be to the full extreme, but if you don't have that purpose, if you don't get up out of that bed, take that shower, get that cup of coffee, and go out and do the next thing with an intentional purpose, you're just busy. You're just busy. You're not productive. Write it down. Get it out your head, because I come up with more ideas in the shower. I'm not going to say the bath. Listen, no, in the shower. And I literally have my phone right there, and I say, hey, Siri. Oh, did she wake up? Oh, Lord, hold on. you
Now
woke
she
up.
gonna start talking to you.
I see, but I'll do that. I'll say hello to my smart assistant, and I'll record a note because those notes, those gems come quickly in the flash, and then my mind just works. Just I'm 54 years old. They start falling out of my head pretty quick. So being able to capture those notes, I have the notebook by my bed. You know which notebook I have by my bed, so I have that capturing that information, those top three things before I go to sleep. I wake up, I look at them one more again, I listen to those voice notes. The next day, I eat that frog, and then I move on with the day. Now, every day is not hunky dory. Every day is not completely roses and things of that nature. There's always things that come in, but again, I got that plan, and I know what I want to accomplish, and then that 45 minutes in the day that I say it that is earmarked for exhale.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I pause, and that's when I reset, and then I'm able to continue on with whatever else I need to do. I swear to you, that's literally what my blood pressure is normal or below normal. That's why, Lord, I don't think I got any ulcers, but that's really while I'm able to have so much going and not be overly burdened. I don't believe in being burned out. Uh, we can go along that tangent if you want to as well, but I don't believe in the concept of burnout. But I don't feel that at all, and we do a lot of stuff. So
Yeah, and that lot of stuff because you got a lot of going on. And so one of my things is I'd love to get a little bit about how you stay organized. Like you've got the focus planner, you're getting that down,
yeah,
you're capturing, and that's a huge tip, you guys, capture, because those thoughts, you can work with them later. You can, but capturing it and not losing it is key. But then there's, you may be running, I don't know, two or three, four, 10, 15, 20 projects at one time.
yeah.
What's your process for staying organized so you don't lose track of where you are on, any one of those projects or any set of those projects?
Well, I'm a student of technology, so I definitely leverage technical pieces and software and things of that. I'm not, again, I'm not afraid of technology. I use one tool that I'm really harnessing and really leveraging and taking advantage of is Day One. Day One is a daily journal app that sends me prompts morning and night to say, James, make sure that you capture how your day is, how your day's going. So I use that tool as well because it has not just a mobile app, but also a desktop app and also a web interface. So there's no excuse for me not to be able to capture what's going on and how I feel. So I use Day One to really capture kind of those high level type of emotional pieces of the day and what's going on. So that's locked with facial ID. No one else can see it, that kind of thing. Those are where a lot of my more intimate types of goals and plans are before they actually turn into the vision board type of
Tangible.
stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Similar to Notion, similar to ClickUp, similar to, can't think of another one, but those tools, I use something called
Smart
FuseBase.
Suite. Mm-hmm.
Smart Suite. So I use something called FuseBase, which used to be Nimbus Note. So that
Okay.
is my document repository. That is my project planner. That is where I put all of my Gantt charts. That's where I put all of my project plans, my content creation schedules and things of that nature, my idea lists. So I use it. It used to be called Nimbus Web, but now it's called FuseBase. And FuseBase also allows me to share that as a client portal. So I can turn on specific aspects of that to clients, prospects, and folks who I need to collaborate with as well. So I'm really loving that integration and that functionality. So yeah, FuseBase is that location where everything else is. My business files, my run of show templates, my YouTube description every time it updates, all of my affiliate relationships and the links for that, all of the code that I have for when I'm creating WordPress websites, and all that stuff that I'd lose if I had it in a regular old spiral notebook and things of that. So those are two that I am really putting a lot of attention into in terms of making them records of my documented system of records. There you go. Good Lord. It's been a
System
long
of
day.
record. It's been a
System of
long
record.
day. It has been a long day for you, and I appreciate
Yeah,
you sharing that.
no worries.
So I know a while back you were redesigning your website and doing some updates to it. Have you
Yeah.
finished, or website can be a
Am I
forever work
finished?
in
Yeah,
progress.
am I
It like
finished?
never finishes. It's a whole thing, y'all. It's a whole thing. But
I am back to WordPress. I'll say
okay.
that because I've been doing WordPress for 15 years. I know Matt Mullenweg, who is the head of the automatic organization and who's been helping drive that open source project. Well, WordPress can get quite bulky at times, right? But with plugins and with themes and with keeping up with all those aspects. I started there, then I moved for a little while to a platform called TubeSpace, which was focused on content creators, and it pulled in your audio podcast, it pulled in your video podcast, and it automatically transcribed and made blog posts. Great platform, great tool. Problem is they have stopped doing a lot of iteration around that. It's still out there. So if you go look at, I think it's tubespace.com, TUBESPACE.com. What they're doing is great. They just seem to have stopped innovating and evolving to the changing world of AI, the changing world of like needing something like a media kit, needing things like a merchandise store and things of that. So they stopped doing that. So I came back to WordPress because I knew how to do it. I could build it in my sleep, and that's where I've re-evolved hicksnewmedia.com into, and I'm starting to not bolt on, but position external platforms that integrate with WordPress. So WordPress is what drives hicksnewmedia.com, and then the merch store and the social platform, social.hicksnewmedia.com, that's built off of Fourth Wall. So Fourth Wall is where I have all of my merchandise, all of my membership, all of my donation, things of that nature, and kind of ability to reach out to me from a coaching perspective. So two tools that interact and work together and that are continuing to evolve and continuing to innovate.
Okay. Awesome.
You can never get a short answer from me. Golly.
That's okay. It's okay. That's why we're here. But I do want to just kind of acknowledge something that Steve Worthy said, because he is on it tonight. Capturing information is critical. And you just reiterated that again, that all of the things all this information, living, you're going to have a ton of information. And having decided not only where you're going to put it, but this was key for me to hear. Using something you know how to use. Not continuously and I'm terrible at this, not continuously finding the next new thing, so you got to go learn how to use the next new thing. And now you just, to be productive and get rid of the friction, pick it, stick with it, learn how to use it every which way you can use it. Whether it's Apple Notes or Notion, whatever it is. And not because other people say it's great. The tools aren't bad. They are very good.
Yeah.
The difference is really honing in and leaning into using the thing that works for you.
Critical.
And if you don't know, you can, if you're not a person who reads the manual and get it, then get the help that you need.
Amen.
Get the coach that you need. Get the education that you need. YouTube University still works. To learn how to use that tool. And then when you've outgrown what that is, that you can get in that, make sure you're building the connection and you're getting help from people who, A, want to see you win.
Yeah.
And will truly be there to help you win. Don't lose that. We all got multiple parts of our lives. There is no person, no adult who's just got one thing in life that they focus on. That does not exist.
Yeah. I I love that distinction that you made right there because right there you're speaking for the majority. Right. Again, but there's that smaller subset, and in the grand scheme of things, it is a smaller subset. There is the Florence Donalds, the Steve Worthies, the Walter Strongs, who are coaches, who are the ones out teachers who have the onus of being aware of the 3, 4, 5 other products and other platforms that are out there in the marketplace, being aware of them, right? So it is my duty to know what the ClickUps and the Fuse bases and the Nimbuses do, such that when I am talking to someone and making an informed decision, I can actually help you make an informed decision. I'm not going to sit here and be biased and say only use Opus Clip when you want to do micro content creation. That may not be your jam. That may not fit your need. There may be something like a Memento or a video or a mantra, right? But I know about these other products. I don't necessarily have to go down a specialized rabbit hole, but from a generalist perspective, if I'm gonna be that coach, if I'm gonna be that trusted advisor, if I'm gonna be that subject matter expert, in that minority, I'm gonna need to know about those other tools. But the majority, the folks that are in their own way, again, not talking bad about folks, but I'm just saying if you're stuck in neutral and you haven't started, right? If you're stuck in neutral and you can't figure out what that gear is, don't worry about all that stuff that's out there, all that noise. Mm-mm. Grab. You're an iOS user. You got Apple Notes. You got reminders. You got what are the other tools, right? You got all those free tools that are pretty darn good. You don't need to go out there and spend $100 a year on Fantastical, on Calendly, on, I'm trying to think of some other tool, right? All these other fancy tools that do very similar things when you got the platforms already built in and integrated into your infrastructure. So I just wanted to tap in on that right there again, because you were speaking to the majority, and I just wanted to make sure that the minority, those, again, subject matter experts, coaches, trusted advisors, still knew that they had the onus of at least knowing so they can filter back to the others.
Absolutely. So since you talked about your website, I want to show your website.
Come on. Oh, Lord, I hope I don't have nothing up there.
Goodness.
Make sure I don't have nothing up there that's not appropriate.
We're going to look at this website. He's going to tell us what we got going on. What do we find here?
Don't roast my website.
This is your website. Talk to us.
Very, very simple, right? Again, very, very, very minimalistic, very lean, right? There's my call to action right there, telling folks about memberships. Click on that as soon as you log onto the site. That auto starts and populates. Then I have my content. I am automatically pulling in all of my latest streams, my latest sessions with folks, so allowing people to either go out to YouTube or go out to Substack, to where the podcast, wherever, or you can go to the website in and of itself, and you can see all of the content. Then I got some testimonials, folks that say I probably know a little bit something about what I'm doing. Not just me out here talking about it. So I actually have a handful of folks. Look, Lord, there go Keith right there.
We're going to get him. We're going to get him.
He sent me back a message. He says he is in church. He gonna blame it on the Lord. But again, testimonials out there. Testimonials are important, especially as a business leader, as a business owner, as someone looking to, again, I don't like the word influence, but as someone looking to advocate into others. You got to have other folks that you've engaged with and work with who can speak positively about the work that you do. That comfort that, James Hicks may know a little something about what this is that he's charging me for. No, he's expensive. He's charging me for all this work. Well, go look at what other folks are saying. And so keep that in mind, folks, as you build your environments as well. And then this right here, this is social.hicksnewmedia.com. This is where I have all of my merchandise. Listen, it ain't just Marquez Bradley that got shoes, y'all. Your boy listen, I got some kicks too. I got my own winter gear. You see the sweaters. You see it's not just t-shirts and it's not just coffee mugs, but we got them too. But yeah, wide selection, wide variety. I did coffee last year, and I ended it right around Christmas time. So I did coffee. I think I'm gonna do a hot sauce in the next couple of months as well. So again, have that flexibility of being attentive to what the community wanted. The community wanted coffee. I did a coffee. I want to do a hot sauce, so I'm going to do a hot sauce. But again, I've got quite a bit of different designs out there as well. So yeah, just really having multiple streams of income, which is critical as well for any entrepreneur, solopreneur, digital content creator. Don't just rely on those Google checks to come in on the 21st of the month. That's when they come. But don't just rely on those AdSense checks. Have merch, have coaching sessions, have ebook downloads, have premium content, have a newsletter that has some fantastic content for free, but then have another layer. Have another layer where you really get into that 201, 301, 401, that deeper conversation with folks. So having multiple strings of and sources of income makes business sense.
Absolutely. And so we got a couple of folks who Denise Jordan is here with us. Hello from Apron Diva, aprondiva.com. She says, she called you Mr. Hicks.
Lord have mercy, Mr. Hicks. Let me sit up
Mr.
straight.
Hicks, right? Your dad, right?
Over here
I
slouching.
never think to ask for testimonials, lady. You should be asking for some testimonials because your community loves you and what you do and bring. I told you, Frank be like Miss Denise. He love him some Denise Jordan. And then we have another question, and this is, what are your thoughts on TidyCal and Calendly? Which one do you prefer?
Good question, Walter. I have both. I've got other solutions as well. So TidyCal, for the most part, does 90% of what I need to do. TidyCal will allow you to integrate multiple calendars, your Google Calendar, your iCloud calendar, and I believe even an Outlook calendar. So you can have that view, and you can set up scheduling windows for people and booking pages so people can come in and say, I want to meet with Walter Strong and have a discovery call or do a live stream or whatever the case may be. You can also charge for premium consultancy sessions. Where TidyCal falls short is when you have those times in life where you need to block off Wednesday afternoon from 3 to 6 and say, I'm unavailable that particular time. Or this particular week, I'm taking vacation and I'm not available, right? So being able to block off time on your calendar and say, I'm not available, right? Or I can't do a session because, again, I'm not in town or whatever the case may be. So TidyCal, it makes it a little bit more challenging to do that. Calendly, it's dead easy to do that. You specify the time either on the mobile app or on the website, and you say you remove days and times and time frames that you are available or you're not available, and it's really simple, and it populates out to all of the scheduling pages that you have. I believe TinyCal is going to eventually add that because they're continuing to iterate. Look, and if you know about AppSumo, you better get out there and get it because you can get it, pay once, and you'll have it forever. But today it's not there. And it has that piece right there is the one thing that's missing for me to make that workflow efficient, right? If I was to use TidyCal, I'd have to go in and manually change each of those schedules, each of those time frames of February 23rd through the 29th. It's 29 days this month, right? Yeah, leap year.
Yes, 29th.
23rd to the 29th that I'm unavailable. And it's just not as clean of a user experience for me, the admin. So there's Calendly. There's another platform called Sessions that does a lot of things as well, that has those types of same integrations. There's a whole bunch of other tools, man. Give me a call if you want to talk more detail about some others, but that's TidyCal versus Calendly.
So I used TidyCal primarily because I could do a one and done.
Mm-hmm.
I paid for it once. I don't have to pay for it again. It was super affordable, and I have figured out a way to do everything I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I even this week, talking about moving in silence or working behind the scenes, I'm working on a new project that will come out to the community. And I wanted a way to do multiple steps and still get the community scheduled the way into the event the way I wanted them to. And I figured out how to pair multiple tools together. But when the community member, whoever, says I want to participate, everything that needs to happen downstream happens without me having to be involved.
Okay. So something like a Zapier integration, maybe, or
Nope.
something of that nature.
Nope.
Okay.
I will talk to you offline.
Oh shoot, Laura's
But
okay.
the explaining what the event is and what the benefits are, what you'll get out of it, the transformation, the registration, the links, the follow up, that the communication that needs to come, all done, and I've strung together different tools.
Okay.
And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was just thinking through, what do I want the experience to be for the person who would want to participate? And then how do I make that experience happen without me or somebody else having to be involved each step of the way?
Yes. Love that
That's
mindset.
that
Love that.
productivity
Love that
piece.
conscious mindset. Right. Again, because again, you're not thinking about necessarily how easy it is for you. I know I said that was one of my main deterrents, but you're looking at it from that customer prospect, that community perspective, what that life cycle is, what that experience is. So, I mean, that I really applaud you for thinking about that and finding integrations and tools that work together to get what it is that you needed to get done.
Yeah. Well, it's really me hanging out with folks like you, watching, listening, and being intentional listening and saying, okay, then this is something I need to be conscious of. I need to be conscious of what that experience is.
Mm.
I may not be perfect. I'm going to learn as I go, but trying to make the experience one that the person can get the message and not be so frustrated by the experience that they don't get anything.
That's good stuff.
I know how I am.
I let that marinate just for a minute, so make sure the folks caught that. I was purposely quiet just for a second, so that marinated with folks. That was pretty good.
So I'm going to say this because y'all know, last call. Get it in. Last call. Denise says, I hear you. I just started my coaching sessions, but the other stuff, I'm late to the party.
Never late.
You're not too late.
Never too late.
Let's just do this. Let's lock in, lock arms. I was sharing. I'm going to just share this. I was sharing with James that the live streams are great. They are fabulous, and I've taken so much from them and grown so much from them. And I participate with people like Steve Worthy Monday morning. Dude, you be getting it. Whew, you talking about beating you over the head. I'm like, ooh wee. James and Walter, so many of you, Denise, so many of you all, I've taken so much from you. There's another level to this that we're doing. I said we're forging a path that hasn't been forged. Those words were not accidental.
Mm-hmm.
There is another level to this community building that has to occur. So part of what I'm working on is laying the foundation for that next level of community building to occur. That's not solely chat response, but it's true, real interaction, being able to go deep dive into some of these questions that we're asking. Content will come out from it, I'm sure. That's what some of these folks do. James Hicks, I ain't calling no names.
Mm-hmm.
Walter Strong, I ain't calling no names. Steve Worthy.
Call us out.
However, I ain't calling nobody's name. However, there's another level in there. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be, I don't believe, that it has to be or should be in isolation. It should be where we're truly sharpening each other and bringing our best.
Yeah.
The old saying, all boats rise with the tide. We're not taking on water. What we're doing is riding, and we're all rising together. And I appreciate you all for being here, listening to me, and truly walking me through this journey. The people who come, like James and Walter and Joshua and uh, David and all the folks. Walter Strong, who pushed me off the cliff. Yes, you did. Kirk Nugent. I'm rising because they've walked a path I haven't walked. But they're also reaching back and helping you all, this community, walk a path that some of us still haven't walked. The next level is sewing back to make that path stronger, open that lane wider so that we rise together further.
Hmm.
So with that, sir, nobody put another question in. I gave them last call. So lights gonna start flickering. What I'm gonna ask you to do, because you know I like this, whatever you want to sow into the community, I want to give you the stage to sow into the community and leave us with whatever insights you want to leave us with.
I'll tie in with what you just summarized, and this will probably not be very popular, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Yeah, we're all about support, all about help, all about no crabs in the barrel, all about making sure that we all succeed. But we're not gonna be sitting around, right? There's some folks that are out here that are serious about this business, that are serious about moving forward, serious about putting these dents in the universe. And if you sitting around and you hear all these good messages, you hear all these kind-hearted folks, you hear all these folks that say, Lord, look, I'm here. Just pick up the phone, book a session on my calendar, call me, do some, email me, text me, whatever. I would love to help you. There's going to be a day when Florence Donald is not going to be available. So take advantage of these opportunities, take advantage of these blessings, take advantage of these resources while you have them readily available, and to get out of your own way. There is no excuse for being afraid of doing the thing. There's no excuse to being afraid of the technology. It is so darn simple to do. It really is pretty straightforward to do everything that we do. We look better than ABC right now. We look better than BET. And this is coming from Florence's home studio. Right? We can help you, teach you, show you, instruct you, guide you on how to do this yourself and how to have these conversations with your own community. But there is going to be a time, if you mess around, you sit around and wait, and today being February 23rd, 2020, what is it, 2024? I don't know. You mess around and you wait till December, we going to be gone. We done spoke it into existence. We moving forward. So again, not being brash, not being cocky, not being arrogant, but just saying, take advantage of the resources, take advantage of the folks that are 2 steps down the road further than you, who can give you some of that knowledge today and who are willing to offer that assistance, offer that insight. Soak it up like a sponge, because we're not waiting. There is too much to do. There's too much good work to do. There are too many messages and conversations and folks that are hungry for these insights, that we can't sit around and wait for you. So don't be mad at us. All right. Don't come around and be mad at Walter Strong, be mad at Florence Donald when come April time, she is on to providing coaching sessions and she's raised her rates. Right. They probably be reasonable right now, but don't let her mess around and get just a few more tools in her tool belt, get a few more notches in her belt of knowing how to do something else. And then she raises her rates when you had the opportunity to reach out to her tonight. And that's all I want to say. Just be intentional about the work, be focused on the work, find what it is that you want to do for yourself. Get yourself a community of folks that you can engage with that are supportive of each other, and just go get that work done. Thank you, Florence. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. So we're going to be here one last time for Iron Sharpens Iron next week. So I'm going to just tell you about that because this is how it all began. And so, James, I'm going to go on screen here, let folks know what's happening next week, and then we're going to go home. All right. Everybody, next week, the Four Horsemen, the Core Four, will be back. That will be the gentleman you heard from tonight. And the other three that are in chat tonight, Steve Worthy, Walter Strong, Joshua Ewell, they started this journey last year. And they're going to come with power planning, and they're going to bring it home. So for all of those who said, when they coming back, they're back. I am thrilled because these are the shoulders that I stand on. I would not be here except for these four gentlemen. I literally would not be here except for these four gentlemen. And so they're the ones that I first pick up the phone and say, hey, I got a question. Hey, this happened. And there's one other one that I don't go anywhere without, and that's my best friend in the world, Frank Jackson. And you all have seen him along with the Emotional CEO in the chat serving as they do every week. And I appreciate you all. And I would not be here being able to serve you as a community without any of them. So next week, they will be here. Bring your questions. Bring your questions. I can't wait. Mr. Hicks, you ready to get out of here? Because you've had a day.
Well, it's all good, though. You know.
You in the chat now?
Well, I just go, heckle from the back of the room. That's all.
Heckling from I'm going home.
I appreciate you, Florence.
I appreciate you. So what I'm going to tell everybody as I'm off screen is I'll see you in the next video live or later, and there will be a video over here that you can watch. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. See you next week.